The 2024 season has long been over, and the 2025 season gets closer each and every day. But just because the Detroit Lions season didn't end where we all wish it did, doesn't mean that there weren't memorable moments. The Lions had a franchise record 15 wins last year, which is something we honestly may never see again. So even though the season ended leaving a sour taste in Lions fans' mouths, I still think it's important that we remember the 2024 season for being the best regular season in franchise history. And that's going to be what this series is all about. We're going to look back at the season that was to remember some of the best moments that the Lions had. Whether it was a jaw-dropping highlight, a crazy comeback, or a dominant drive, the moments that made up the 2024 season are worth revisiting. So join me as we count down the top 10 moments of the 2024 season for the Detroit Lions. So welcome in everyone. We have reached the top 3 moments of the 2024 Lions season. This series has been quite a journey so far, and yet at the same time, it kind of feels like it's flown by. We are not going to waste any more time. We are just going to hop straight into the third moment on this list. Some Jake Bates heroics, a Jake Bates walk-off field goal. And for this story, we have to travel back to week 10 for a carnival of a game in Houston. Now, I've got to be honest, going into this game against the Texans, Sunday Night Football, the Lions are 7-1 at this point, and I had a weird feeling. I didn't necessarily think that the Lions were going to lose, but in my head, I was already starting to get into the mindset that it's not going to be the end of the world if the Lions lose this game. It was very much like in my brain, I was choosing to view it as like a side quest. That's right, my friends. I was pre-coping. And by pre-coping, that is exactly how I was able to survive the first 3 quarters of this game without losing my mind. You see, this game is special for a few reasons, and we're going to start with the most obvious one. And that, my friends, is Mr. Jared Goff, who throughout the start of this season was playing some of the best football of his career. Over the past 2 seasons at this point, has played some of the best football in his entire career. He was horrible in this game. We don't need to beat around the bush here. 5 interceptions. 5! Yeah, he more than doubled his season total in one game. It truly was one of the funniest things. Every time he threw the ball, it was just everything was going wrong. There were batted balls, receivers quitting on routes, like everything that could have gone wrong was going wrong. It was honestly one of the funniest things I'd seen all season. Okay, second thing. This is just kind of like a mini moment within the moment here. We have to acknowledge one of the most perfectly timed coaching interviews of all time, because Dan Campbell, coming out of halftime, the Lions are down, right? The game is not going their way so far. And in the interview with NBC, Dan Campbell says, we've got to get turnovers. Like, the offense has got to do their thing, yeah, but we've got to get turnovers. And obviously it's delayed. Like, they record that as the teams are coming out for halftime, but they play it as the half starts. And so they're playing this audio, and as Dan Campbell says, we got to get turnovers, Carlton Davis with his first interception as a Lion. It was the most perfect, picture-perfect TV interview moment. That is really niche, but you get the point. It was so perfectly timed, and that was just a really, really fun moment as well. Okay, next thing I want to talk about. This is, I know that this is not really breaking down the game in the way that we usually do, but we're just kind of, I don't know, we're mixing it up this week, I guess. Another thing we got to talk about. CJ Stroud was also kind of bad in this game. And I know CJ Stroud just kind of had a bit of a sophomore slump season, spectacular rookie season, but just not really living up to those standards in his second year. And this game, I think, is kind of symptomatic of that, because the Texans defense had 5 interceptions, and Stroud and the Houston offense just never really matched what the defense was doing. And man, if you want proof of that, the second interception he threw to Carlton Davis was just, honestly, it was horrible. He rolls out to his right. He has a touchdown. It's wide open. He's got the guy. He takes too long to throw, and he leaves it short, allowing Carlton Davis to recover and get his second interception of the game. By the way, nice job, Carlton Davis. Yeah, I like, even as a Lions fan watching that game, I was getting mad at Stroud for just how infuriating he was in this game and just all season. Like, he was just not good. But okay, let's get to the good parts. So we can fast forward through most of the game because you know how it was going to this point. Jared Goff had 5 interceptions. 5, but the Lions are down 23-13. They start the quarter with the ball, and okay, we're moving down the field. Jameson Williams makes a big catch, probably one of the best contested catches of his career, where he just gets completely sandwiched, has the wind knocked out of him, but he made the catch. We keep the ball moving. So the Lions are going down the field. David Montgomery with a nice run to get the ball into the red zone, and Amon-Ra St. Brown on a screen. Shout out Penei Sewell for being the lead blocker there. But Amon-Ra St. Brown on a screen runs it into the end zone. Suddenly, it's a one-score game, and this is the point where I got hope again. You know, most of the game, I was like, oh well, this just isn't their night. In their night, Amon-Ra St. Brown gets in the end zone. I'm back in. I'm all of a sudden like, yo. Could you imagine? Then on the Texans' following drive, another one of my funniest moments of the entire season, because Titus Howard decided it's Titus Howard time. Titus Howard just strips CJ Stroud because while Stroud was getting sacked, Howard thought that he was going to take the ball and run with it. Are you on drugs? Lions get the ball back again, and Jahmyr Gibbs basically single-handedly gets the Lions into field goal range, but drive stalls out, they lose a few yards, and it's a long field goal, and rookie kicker Jake Bates trots out for a 58-yard attempt. The kick is up, and it just so narrowly squeaks inside the upright, but by the grace of God, the game is tied. But now with just over 5 minutes to go, Texans get the ball back. They start going on a nice drive. They get over midfield, and they themselves get into field goal range. But similarly to the Lions the drive before, their drive stalls out, and their kicker, Kymie Fairburn, has to trot out for a identical 58-yard field goal, this time for the Texans to take the lead. The kick is up, and it's nowhere close. He completely shanked it, misses the kick. Lions get the ball back inside of 2 minutes, near midfield, and now suddenly the chance to do the impossible has crept up out of nowhere. First play, Jahmyr Gibbs runs it for 4 yards. Texans take their first timeout. Okay, we're feeling good. Second play, Gibbs is completely stuffed, and Texans use their second timeout. It's now 3rd and 6. You're out of field goal range. You can't kick it from here. You need a play. And on 3rd and 6, Jared Goff, despite how bad he played in this game, he hits his go-to target, Amon-Ra St. Brown. Amon-Ra first down, dare I say, 11-yard pickup. Lions are in field goal range. Texans use their last timeout, and now Detroit can wind the rest of the clock and try to kick a walk-off field goal. So 2 plays later, couple runs. The Lions, at this point, they don't want to take chances. They just run the clock down, and Jake Bates comes out for a 52-yard field goal with a chance to win it. A man that had gone from being a brick salesman to being a kicker in the UFL with the Michigan Panthers, now being a rookie kicker in the NFL. The spotlight is all on him, and he has a chance to cap off just the craziest game that I've seen in a while. And having almost hit the upright on his last kick, you know, he knew he had to correct his aim a little bit. He was aimed a little bit, almost a little bit wide. So, you know, we're going to correct the aim. And he goes straight for the other upright. But again, miracles were had on the field that day. The ball squeaks in by a couple of inches on the other upright. Lions win. It's a walk-off field goal for Jake Bates. And Detroit has somehow won a game in which their quarterback threw 5 interceptions. I can't emphasize that enough. 5 interceptions. And it was the heroics of rookie kicker Jake Bates with back-to-back 50-plus yard field goals to send Lions fans home happy. The Lions win a game that they had absolutely no business even being in, moving to 8-1, continuing a win streak that would go on to be the longest win streak in franchise history. A crazy, crazy game. So that's going to do it for this episode and this moment. Remember to hit that like button if you enjoyed it, subscribe if you loved it, and ring that notification bell so you don't miss any future uploads. I'll be back in a few days with a training camp preview because, yeah, that's a thing that's going to happen very, very soon. So, yeah, be on the lookout for that. But until then, I'll see you guys next time. Cheers.